Well, welcome to In Focus. I'm Pat Uliano, and we have Andy Consoli with us again today. Andy, thank you for coming back. Those who watched our program a couple of months ago saw Andy. We had him on as a home inspector. You had your home inspector hat on, and we talked about the perils of people coming in and fixing the homes and handymen. And I just wanted you to warn the community out there what to look for, and hopefully some of them heeded your words. But I wanted you to come back because you scared us when we were here last time. You talked about mold and you talked about radon, and it's a very scary thing. They're words, people see them, but they don't have any idea how dangerous it is. So you have your hat on as a certified mold inspector, inspector today. You have radon canisters. We have a bunch. And what I would like to do is to have you start and talk about, when you do a home inspection, Andy, part of what you do, and I think it's probably add-ons to the actual home inspection, but these are the things that are available for people. And when I found out the dangers, I mean, you have a pamphlet here that really, I just opened it up and went, oh my God, health risks, and it's the whole center. It's
true.
What's a health risk?
A house has a lot of issues within the house. Every house in the world has radon. Radon is a gas that it's the breakdown of uranium. Uranium is everywhere. When uranium breaks down, it gives off radium. Uranium breaks down again, gives off radon gas. The gas floats about the room, attaches to dust. We breathe in dust, and the radon particle explodes. And the particle explodes with such a force, like it tears the DNA of the lung cell in half. So every explosion of radon particle will tear the DNA of the lung cell in half. And when the lung cell tries to repair itself, often it repairs itself in a mutant way, and it becomes a mutation which causes lung cancer. Now, the EPA says we shouldn't be breathing in more than 3.99999 picocuries per liter of radon.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people, when they get the report, they don't even know what's that mean.
Yeah.
Well, think of a liter bottle of soda.
Okay.
A liter.
Yeah.
That's that. So let's say that, a liter of space in the air.
Yeah.
And if you can picture 4 units of radiation, so 4 little pieces of radiation within that airspace would be too much. It would actually be equivalent to having close to 1,000 chest x-rays per year. That much radiation.
Wow.
So in a little bit of airspace.
That's based on radon.
That's based on radon. Radon particles are in this room right now. As you breathe in, they're going into the lung, they're exploding, they're tearing the DNA. The DNA hopefully will repair itself okay, otherwise it will mutate. So the EPA is clear. When you are 4 or more picocuries, you need to get it out, remediate it.
Okay, now when someone comes to your house, and I know as a broker, I've called you, I've called home inspectors, and our biggest fear is to have you find things wrong with the house. The radon is fairly new, and I want to say new. What is it, 20 years since? Since
they've been making it an issue, and houses have always had radon from the beginning of time.
But nobody knew or thought about that.
It became an issue because of the construction of homes.
Okay.
Radon is on a periodic table of elements chart. It's part of chemistry class since the beginning of education.
Okay.
So that's normal. The issue with radon is when it floats about the home and sticks to dust, it explodes on the lung, causes lung cancer. Well, older homes have windows and doors that aren't as tight.
Right.
The radon, it exits the home before it has a chance to hurt us. So an older house is actually a little safer because it's ventilating.
Okay.
The tighter the home, now we trap it in, and there's the problem. That's why over the past 20 years.
Okay, so it's about 20 years?
It's about 20 years.
Because prior to that, nobody ever heard of radon.
It was irrelevant. It's the style, the windows and doors are too tight.
Okay, so now brokers are selling houses. They have the right to have, the buyer has the right to have a home inspection. How many buyers are actually asking for this?
I would say 90%.
Are they?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they're very much aware of the dangers then, obviously. Because you don't hear about it. I don't hear about it in the news. No. You don't read about it.
No, we used to. The news At one point, it was the big thing. Pressure treated decks.
Well,
were a
that's
big
when
thing.
those little tubes came out. And I
Yeah.
said to you, our mindset in the business was another money-making scheme for whoever came up with the bloody tube that you put on the stairs in your basement. And I got to tell you, I would support that whole radon testing if I could move the clock back 20 years, knowing what I know today. But tell the people, if they, let's do that. Let's take out your radon.
You want me to show you?
Now, you mentioned that this is the inexpensive. But
it is.
Is it, not that it's not as good, is it as...
it's accurate.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
Okay.
It's the issue with this is these bottles have charcoal inside. Radon needs to plate to something. What that means stick to.
Yep.
So radon floats about the air, attaches to dust, and it needs to plate. It loves to plate to charcoal.
Okay.
So radon will land in, plate to charcoal. 2 days later, we put the cap back on. So cap is off for 2 days.
Okay.
We are now trapping the radon inside.
Where?
Now, it has to be tested in the home. And EPA says the lowest living level of a home or the lowest level that could be lived in without substantial renovation.
Okay.
So lower level.
Basement, then.
If it's livable. There's no law. Some clients want it in the lowest level regardless of whether it's livable or not.
Oh.
It's their decision.
But I thought once you dug into the ground, that's where it is. So wouldn't you have it in the basement?
EPA would rather you know what the radon levels are in the areas you spend time.
Okay, all right.
If you're spending money, but my clients and most clients want to know worst case scenario.
Yep.
So that's if they could dig a hole through the concrete floor and dangle it 30 feet down, they would.
Okay, I
They
see.
want the worst situation possible. So this is the beauty of this. These go to the laboratory 2 days later.
Yeah.
The lab takes the cap off. There's a machine, pitch black, an eyeball looking down into the bottle will literally see each and every explosion. Every explosion creates what is called a photon. That's a beam of light.
Okay.
It counts them. So when you see that, you realize, wow, this is scary. This is the real McCoy. And this report from the laboratory will actually show every 15 minutes, this report shows the explosions that occur in the radon levels. So you'll see some spikes in this report. That's because the radon levels, they vary throughout the day. If it's windy, they're going to spike.
Okay.
A calm day, they drop.
Okay.
Even if the sprinklers in the yard are turned on for 2 minutes, the second the sprinklers turn on, the radon levels spike.
Okay.
And the reason is radon cannot penetrate through this piece of paper. It cannot penetrate through the dead layer of skin on your body. Radon gets into the home not through the concrete floor. It can't get through. It comes in through sump pump holes, through cracks in the floor.
Okay.
So it enters through those points. Now outside, when the sprinkler's on, water is on the surface of the ground.
Yeah.
Radon can't even penetrate through that.
Ah, okay.
So it builds up,
Yep.
and it comes back down, and it multiplies, then it comes through sump pump holes.
Okay.
So it's really something. Radon is instant. If I set my machine up, within 1 second, we'd see radon
in here.
in this room. How do you feel?
How do I feel?
Yeah, any coughs?
I'm already sick, so it
Okay,
doesn't
okay,
matter.
good.
And those out there that already know me know I'm already sick, so it's not going to matter.
No.
I don't know about these people in here. They all have colds. But it would be interesting to see if, in fact, we have radon coming in here and what effect it has. So we can, you know what? We're going to set that up
We'll show
during
that up.
the
Sure.
2 minute, once we have it take a break. Okay, let's move from, so anyway,
else?
it goes to the lab. Those are the two. Why two?
2 bottles.
Are they both the same?
They are. The lab wants to confirm that we don't have an issue with accuracy. So
Okay.
they test each other. So if I have a number of 4.3 and 1, we have a problem. So this is just quality control.
Okay.
And there's a rule on how high, 3 to 5 feet, 2 feet from a wall, 10 feet from a TV.
And what else? You can't open the door. You can't open windows. You can't move.
Well, when
the
we show
air?
up, the windows couldn't have been opened 12 hours before we start. It's called equilibrium.
Okay.
The whole house has to be in a closed house condition for 12 hours before we start the test.
Okay.
A lot of folks, the realtors will say, well, The house has been empty for years, closed up for years, so of course the levels will be high. No, it could be a house lived in by Benjamin Franklin and closed ever since he's left us. Radon levels equalize within 12 hours.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. They die off, they come in, they die, so it's a balance. And it's called equilibrium, and that's a 12-hour period of time.
Okay. So we're going to do the radon when we come back. Now, the other thing is, and I said, you're certified mold inspector, but the health risks, I'm looking at here, respiratory, wheezing, difficulty. How do you detect without actually seeing it, knowing that there's mold in the house? Because you also said there's mold everywhere.
There's mold everywhere. People call, Andy, is there any mold in my house? It's on the buttons of your shirt. It's normal. Mold is normal. Without mold, we'd have a serious problem on this earth.
Why?
Because mold breaks down materials when we no longer need them.
Okay.
Your house, if you vacate a home, mold takes over quickly. Mother Nature knows this house needs to be eliminated. No one's using it. It's of no use any longer. It's been abandoned, and Mother Nature steps in, mold grows, deteriorates, digests everything, and eventually that house will be back to soils, which is how it works. So mold is critical. Without it, the leaves in the woods would have piled up. You wouldn't be able to have walked into this building. There'd be leaves and organic matter. So it's
mold kills. Well, mold, the dying and the rotting of stuff creates mold, or does mold create the dying in the...
Mold, as soon as something is moist enough and it's no longer necessary, Mother Nature just knows it's time to take it away. Let's digest it.
Okay.
A house shouldn't be digested. So the goal is to minimize mold from destroying a home.
Okay.
And you can do that by keeping the humidity levels below 60%, preferably below 50.
But Andy, these things cost money, and people are barely making ends meet as it is. What kind of thing or mechanics can we do? Is there anything that's not that expensive that can detect mold? I mean, how do normal people find mold?
They smell it. Good old nose. That's the cheapest way to go.
And if you can't, you get to a point that you have to be saturated with it before you know.
You'd see it, but other people will notice it. You don't, because your olfactory senses within your nose will cause you not to smell it any longer. Did you ever walk into a home and you smell someone's pet?
Yeah.
But then after a few hours, I don't smell it anymore.
Right.
So it's because your olfactory senses have shut down. Otherwise, you couldn't stand being in this environment for too long.
Okay.
And this all stems from the fact that way back in the old days, human beings didn't bathe. So if I'm hanging about someone who is disgusting, I can't take it unless my nose shuts down my senses.
Okay.
Otherwise, nobody would be married. There'd be nothing going on.
He probably isn't anyway. So.
That's right. So the thing with mold is if you live in a home, you don't know it. I've been into homes, and I go, this house is loaded. What are you talking about? I don't have a problem. It's terrible. And when our mold laboratory will show us that the counts are through the roof.
Wow.
They've never known it.
Okay.
But they wonder, why do I have a headache every day?
There you go. That's what I want to talk about. When we come back, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, you're going to have everything set up, and we're going to test the studio, and we'll see everybody vacate in 30 seconds. All right? We're going to take a slight break. When we come back, Andy's going to show us his radon
couple
machine.
Machines and the mold machine, yeah.
Very good.
America, meet Greg Anderson. Served 2 tours in Afghanistan, Bronze Star and Purple Heart recipient, and unemployed. The unemployment rate among transitioning service members is unacceptably high, much higher than the general population. Veterans are a proven commodity. They're mature, reliable, and hardworking, and they deserve a chance to get back to work after serving their country. Do you really want to honor a veteran? Hire one. Go to legion.org/honor veterans to find out how you can help.
Hello, welcome back to In Focus. We ended off with Andy getting all his equipment out here, and I didn't know that we wouldn't be able to get a reading right away, although he just talked about it for half the program. But Andy, the mold...
Yeah, this is when the mold inspector comes into the home, they'll use this pump, and this is it's actually an air pump that pulls air through this little cell. It's an aerosol. when we turn the pump on, the air will come through this small hole, and the dust in the air will stick to the inside of this little device, this little unit. It only takes 10 minutes, that's it. We then send this to our laboratory. They literally count the mold spores, and they'll let us know if it's a problem or not.
Okay.
That's one way
That's the mold one.
of doing it, yeah.
Okay. This one here is the fancy radon.
Yeah, this is you kick it up a notch with this one. It looks, feel it. It's light.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, you think, wow, what's that?
I thought it was very heavy.
No, and these machines are thousands of dollars. So
oh my goodness.
you think, well, what the heck's going on? Now, this is a very expensive machine. The machine has a tube inside with a copper coating inside the tube.
Yep.
Radon goes in through the holes in this machine.
I see that.
Radon goes into the holes. Radon then will plate on the copper and
Okay.
explode. I said explodes.
Yeah.
And every explosion takes voltage away from the original voltage from the start of the test.
Okay.
So as voltage drops, we know more radon.
And that's that graph that you showed.
That's
that was
this
the
here. Oh, yeah.
expensive one.
This literally will show every 15 minutes how many radons are exploding on that copper tube.
Okay. Very good. And the last, I know, that's okay. And the last piece of equipment we have here, we're going to do this.
Oh, yes.
Is this one right here.
That's
we made
right.
fun of this before. But
Colonoscopy
yes.
piece of equipment, yes.
Okay. This, Andy, you make holes in the wall if somebody wants to, or you detect termite damage or
mold.
Or mold.
Sure.
Well, why wouldn't you just set up that machine?
The machine will only take the air in the room.
Yep.
Behind the wall cavity, if we're using this machine, behind the wall, we have to put this tube into the wall and then mount this on that.
Oh, my
so
goodness.
we need to pull air from the wall.
Okay.
Now, we may not need to spend money on a wall evaluation unless we see an issue with the borescope.
Okay.
The borescope is a camera. We can take photos. We can take video. It's in color, and it's then stored on a chip, and we can email the photographs to the client.
Okay.
And let them know it's time to open that wall cavity and fix this problem.
All right. Now, you've detected, I know how dangerous radon is. You've detected radon that is not at a healthy level. What is your recommendation for somebody? And that's for the brokers out there and salespeople. Listen real good, because you may be standing there with your buyer who's going to be walking right out the door, never to be seen again. So how do we, and your job isn't to make sure a deal passes or not. Your job is to secure and make sure that the home is safe, basically. You know, we used to curse you guys. And
it hurt my feelings.
I know it hurt your feelings, but you know what? And you could see the commission go bye-bye as soon as you said the screw on here needed to be replaced and nobody wanted to do it. That's how small some of the issues were. We're talking health hazard things here now. How many homes have you been in that you've actually seen people vacate or want to leave or sell or couldn't sell because of any of the readings on any of this?
Not too many.
No?
It's fixable.
Is it?
Radon's fixable anywhere from $1,500 to $6,000.
Okay.
So don't give estimates. You never know until the radon remediation company shows up.
All right.
Mold. I found a little bit of mold the size of a nickel in an attic 2 weeks ago. And the cost to remediate was $8,000.
Why?
Mold is very expensive.
Andy, it's really.
The liability. As soon as someone goes in to deal with mold,
Yeah.
they have to issue a warranty. They have to make sure that the homeowner is safe in their home. The liability alone warrants a very high cost.
That's to test for it. Oh my God! Or is that?
No, that's to remediate.
Okay.
A small bit. It's expensive, and you can't just use bleach. You need a professional.
You said last time you were on the show. Now let's take for example, and I don't know, all homes have vents in their bathrooms, but I've been into homes that don't have ventilation in their bathrooms. So when you take a shower, you get steamy. the mold that you see in the bathrooms in the houses now, is that a dangerous mold?
It is. It's often penicillium on the wall. Some folks couldn't be in that bathroom for more than 5 minutes. They would have a reaction. It's like I can go into a house with cats, no problem. My wife, 5 minutes, she has to leave. Some folks have a reaction. Others don't.
But that mold is dangerous from the steam and because you said there was mold that wasn't. What mold isn't dangerous?
All molds are dangerous to folks with an allergic reaction to mold.
Okay.
We have over 100,000 different molds.
Okay. What's the most dangerous that around?
Stachybotrys is the worst, but you don't find it here often.
Okay.
Penicillium, cladosporium.
Where do you find that? What does it look like?
We find it's black usually, but mold can be. The other day I was in a home. The mold was red, yellow, green, blue.
Really?
Every color of the spectrum.
Yeah. And what was it?
It was cladosporium, penicillium. It was also on that particular home we had a lot of we had aspergillus too.
That's your report.
Yeah, this is a report.
What
there are so many kinds of mold. Mold gives off gases, mycotoxin gases, to defend itself from other molds.
Okay.
What you're smelling in a home is mold fighting each other. Like if you are penicillium and I'm cladosporium, we are attempting to eat the sheetrock in a bathroom. Mm-hmm. It's my sheetrock. What are you doing here? So I need you to leave, and to scare you off, I'm going to spray a mycotoxin gas at you like a skunk would.
Okay.
So what you're smelling is mold fighting.
Okay.
You're also smelling mold digesting. Just like a human, when you digest things, you create a smell.
Okay.
So that's what you're picking up, and if you smell mold, it's a problem. A lot of folks say it's just must. Must is mold. Or they say it's just mildew. Mildew is mold on plants. It's all mold.
Okay. So how do you? Last time you were here, I said to you, how there's a product that you can use. For what kind of mold can you use it? You
just
said
about anything. Mold and milk. Just at the store, you can buy.
What's the name of that stuff?
Well, you can buy Shockwave.
Okay.
And that's the best.
Yeah.
Well, not the best, but it's a good product that a lot of professionals use.
And one of us, a layperson, can do that, or would you not recommend it?
I wouldn't recommend it if it's in the bathroom. Clean it yourself.
Okay.
If you're trying to clean an attic or an excessive amount of mold,
yep.
You're going to stir it up. It'll travel to other rooms.
Really?
So mold remediation requires a complete close down of the home.
Yep.
A deep pressuring of the home. Plastic everywhere. Special Tyvek suits.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a big deal. That's why it's expensive.
So how many people do you think, how many houses, did you say it's everywhere?
It's everywhere.
Not like radon, though.
Radon
is everywhere.
Radon is everywhere. Mold is everywhere. Not one house in the world is mold-free. Mold is not a problem unless the humidity in a home reaches 60+%.
Okay.
Then mold realizes, well, it's time to destroy this house and break it down.
Wow.
So we can certainly control that by putting in a dehumidifier. That's the one key. If anyone walks away today with anything, buy a dehumidifier. Put it in tomorrow.
Okay.
Mold is starting to grow now.
Yeah.
As soon as we have this warm weather. And don't open your cellar basement windows. It's the worst thing you can do.
Really?
Imagine the warm air from outside coming into a colder, lower level.
Yeah.
Condensation.
Okay.
Causing mold. Mold needs moisture, and it needs a right amount of humidity, and it needs a host.
Okay.
Something to nibble on.
Yeah.
That's what a house is.
Okay.
Keep moisture down.
So a dehumidifier, if you place them in different areas of your house, should that, if you already have mold in there, will it keep it in check? Will it kill it? Or will it just not add to what's already there?
It won't kill it.
Okay.
It'll keep it in check to a point.
Yep.
But even it will go dormant. But dormant mold is also dangerous. Mold needs to be removed. You wipe it, you clean it. If mold is in sheetrock, you can't just wipe it because the roots of the mold get into the material. Mm-hmm. And you can wipe the surface all night and day and think it's gone. Mm-hmm. The roots will allow it to grow again. It's like weeding in the garden. Mm-hmm. You have to go to the root or it'll pop up again.
Right.
And that's why it's expensive, because most materials need to be removed. And that adds up. In the old days, 25 years ago, roofs had to be totally taken off the house.
Wow.
Today, they use dry ice. It's like when you go to the car wash and you use the gun and you spray your car with water.
Yeah.
It's just like that, but dry ice comes out of it at high pressure.
Yeah.
And you dry ice all of the wood that's damaged by mold.
Yeah.
And that literally will peel away the roots.
Okay.
So you don't have to remove the materials anymore if you dry ice it.
So what happens after you peel away? It has to fall somewhere.
It falls on plastic.
Okay.
And then we have to coat all of the materials with a fungicide, an antifungal coating.
Yeah.
And that usually works if you keep humidity down. And a mold company can issue a warranty up to 20 years if you keep the humidity down.
Okay, so everything is based on, not everything is based on. So your word of advice today with all of this here is a dehumidifier right now.
That's the key.
Now that the weather is changing and everybody is...
That is it.
Okay.
If you start from the get-go with a dehumidifier, mold will not be an issue.
All right, we have 2 minutes. Do you have any parting words for the people of Methuen and anybody else who sees this in Lawrence, or the DVD that I give you when you can pass it around?
I would say don't panic, because it's normal.
Okay.
You see a little mold, clean it up. Over the counter, they have mold solutions. Fine.
Okay.
If it's bothering you, or you have a son or a daughter with some respiratory problems, asthma,
That never goes away?
then you need a professional.
Okay.
Don't play games, because it'll just get worse. Mold also causes pneumonia. Mm-hmm. So it's not the end of the world. I wouldn't say jump and do anything drastic. Mm-hmm. Have someone come in, a quick analysis, and often there's no license to do the cleanup, so you could do it yourself.
Okay.
You're not violating anything.
Okay.
Go online. You can learn how to clean it.
Yeah.
It's not brain surgery.
Yeah.
Do it. You're not going to use dry ice. You don't own the machine, and it's you don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
But you can certainly clean it and scrub a dub and put some antifungal, and maybe that'll work.
Very good, Andy. I can't thank you enough, and I know probably people may have questions. I don't know. I think the banner, I forgot what they call it. What do you call it on the bottom? Is it the banner? I was right. Oh, that's a switch. On the bottom, we'll give Andy's name, and could they call your website, or
Sure.
I think it's the website that's on there. I'm not quite sure.
They certainly could.
I don't know who's in your office that maybe if anybody had any questions, or they can say, I saw Andy on In Focus, and
They could talk to my daughter, Samantha.
okay.
She's one of our mold technicians.
Yeah, if they have any questions, and would you be willing to answer
Anytime.
whatever you could on the
Anytime.
phone? Or
What confuses them, say ABC Home Inspection, is that's us, but we're also Safety First Environmental.
okay,
So
we have
same
that.
company.
Yep.
Okay, so whoever they talk to at either company, we
Very
can help.
diversified. I just got my renewal, and I think I said that on the last show. My brokers, I had to go to a boot camp, and Andy was the instructor. And you are excellent, and I thought this was a great way just to pass on. Mm-hmm. And I thank you for coming here, and I hope that people call you when they need you, and home inspections, renewal of licenses, mold.
Contractor continuing ed too.
There you go.
So.
All of that in different cities and states and whatever.
All over.
Follow the website, and Andy, I'm sure, will answer your call, especially if you said, Pat told me to call.
That's right.
I want to thank you for joining us on In Focus, and I want to thank you, Andy, for coming back.
Thank you
so much, and we'll catch you next time.